of the city and of campus, and then they have one that just has like the big E and different stuff like that we could all use for those who attended EMU, of course. I mean, I went to freshman.
Okay.
I have 2 kids there. I mean,
Maybe they will share that. Maybe they'll share those with us.
Oh yeah, you can go get them on your own. They're on the website. You can just download them yourself. So we can
Oh really? Okay.
we should have a city backdrop.
Is there a fee to download them?
Oh, it's free.
Jennifer's present.
Yeah, all are present now.
All present. Clerk, would you please call the meeting to order?
Meeting's called to order at 7:04. Councilmember Wilcoxon,
Present.
Councilmember Brown,
Present.
Councilmember Somerville,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Richardson,
Present.
Councilmember Morgan,
Present.
Councilmember Simmons.
Present.
With 6 present and 1 vacancy, there is a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, I can't pull my agenda up in front of me because I'm having technical difficulties and I usually pull it up on my phone. So would you read the agenda? Is it the Pledge of Allegiance yet or invocation?
For those Zoom meetings, we don't have the Pledge of Allegiance or the invocation on, so it's agenda approval.
Okay. Can we have a motion for agenda approval, please?
I move to approve the agenda.
Support.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Would you call the vote, or can we vote as one, or is it a roll call vote?
We'll do a roll call.
Okay.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Somerville,
Yes.
Mayor Richardson,
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilcoxon.
Yes.
Motion carries, agenda is approved.
All right.
The next item is public comments.
Right. Do we have anyone for public comment? If anyone would you raise your hand so that the clerk can see you and call upon you? I see a hand.
Yep, there is a. Hey Joe, since you are the host now, I'm unable to promote someone to talk. So can you enable them to talk? The first member for audience participation is Gail Wolkoff.
I know her.
Hello, Mayor and council members, chiefs of Ypsilanti. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I feel like this is a Saturday Night Live. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Anyway, I am wearing my police advisory hat and my hat that I wear because from going to the Monday meetings at Park Ridge Community Center. And there, many people talked about the fact that the fireworks appeared, at least I thought they went on longer than normal, like all of June. And and a lot of other people said this. So, and also a lot of people were talking about that the fireworks were being shot. I know nothing about fireworks. I've never shot one off. So please bear with me, but they were being shot off low enough that the ashes were coming down and potentially sparks. So there was a danger situation. I don't know if this is where I come to let people know that there were great concerns both in the city of and the township of Ypsilanti of the fireworks situation. So thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The next individual with their hand raised is Brian Foley. If you can allow him to talk now.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Not first I want to say congratulations to our mayor, or thank you for taking the mantle of mayor, and Lois Richardson. Yeah, I was the person who brought that, as Gail had talked about, at the fireworks, and I talked with Chief Hobbs, and he called me afterwards and shared with me some very pertinent information on how to handle that. Thank you, Chief Hobbs, for that timely response. The lady who lives next door to me, she has a daughter who is deaf as well as mute, and the fireworks were going on more than I can say that I'm accustomed to, that I've seen in the city. And I brought it to the public, Washtenaw County Public Health Department, Charles Wilson's attention, as to fireworks that affect people such as her, because of repercussions. Even though she couldn't hear the fireworks, she could feel the repercussions. And I said, Chief Hobbs, he gave me the recourse on how to handle that by contacting the proper agencies such as the fire department and the police department when they're fired illegally or out of the times. Which brings me to my question I would like to present to council, is that the city's ordinance says that fireworks can start at a certain time, but they end at 2 a.m. on the day before a holiday, the day of the holiday, and the day after the holiday. So we can fire fireworks off into 2 o'clock at night. The township ordinance calls for it only on the holiday itself, and they are supposed to end, if you will, at 11:45 p.m. So I just want to bring that to the council's attention, considering that we do have, people who suffer from PTSD and other people who have ailments, including dogs and people who have animals too. You know what I'm saying? And yes, I was talking about the fallout. It was abundant. I was in the Sugarbrook neighborhood, which is outside of Ypsilanti, of course, city of Ypsilanti, but the fallout was crazy. And that was the other complaint that my neighbor had, was the fallout falling onto a roof. So I just want to bring it to the council's attention. It's something that I believe that we need to re-examine, in particular, the times that fireworks can be fired off, because not only those dangers, but also firecrackers and fireworks, they are getting more and more and more powerful than the firecrackers that we had when I was coming of age. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Foley. Any other hands?
I'm not seeing any other. Oh, there we go. The next
Okay.
person to have their hand raised was Desiree Simmons. I'll allow them to speak now. Hold on. There we go.
Hello, Desiree.
Hold on one second.
Okay.
Hey, Joe, it's only allowing me to promote to panelists. Can you just allow them to talk?
Zoom will not let me do that because Ms. Simmons has a old version of Zoom.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll just.
Is there some way we can let her know why she's not able to speak?
She's able to speak now.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Oh, hello, everyone. Thank you for.
Hello, Desiree.
Good evening. Happy to be here and to see you all tonight. I just wanted to speak on a couple of things. One, I just want to speak in support of council considering a bunch of tenants' rights proposals to either take up as council or to put on the ballot for November, based on some very hard work looking at tenants' rights of first refusal and some other protections for our renters. I'm especially concerned just because of the pandemic and how it's going to hit our renters, and thinking about whether landlords who did receive support through the PPP, whether that's being passed along to our renters, is something that I think we should also keep in mind. I also just want to say, based on understanding how the process will work for in November for selecting the future mayor, I just want to put out there and put some seeds for council to think about how to have a really transparent nomination process, especially for the person who will be nominated again to council. As we know, this council is full of folks who have kind of got on in ways that don't give people direct voice and choice. And so I think it's a great opportunity to think about how to have a process that would allow some public input, and that council would actually listen to the public input that people would provide and what that would look like, and to have a process for what that would be. So I just wanted to name those things. And then I also just want to say that we're really excited. I'm on the subcommittee for housing affordability and accessibility, and we'll be doing a presentation at the Planning Commission on July 17th at 7 p.m. about work that we've been doing for the past 2.5 years, focused on housing affordability and accessibility, and promoting some of the data, but also really focus on the different solutions that we suggest that council can do, as well as advocacy areas. So I invite you all to join us for that, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Simmons. Next, is that Amber Fellows?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Good evening.
Hi, it's Amber Fellows. First, I just want to say congratulations to the whole community for coming together and taking a big step towards the kind of justice and healing and restoration that we need. And I'd like to also congratulate Mayor Alan Richardson and your tenure as a public servant leading to this monumental moment, as you are our first Black woman mayor, and that's really something to be proud about. I look forward to working with you. Thank you. I will be sending you all on council an article detailing the previous mayor's history of harm while in office, mostly as a reminder that there is much more restorative work to do in remediating those past harms. First, I strongly encourage City Council to formally invite those former commissioners, Toy Dennis, myself, and Brown, to consider serving again, as well as outreach potential appointees that are underrepresented in our commissions. A part of the transformation I hope to see is an expansive and democratic interpretation of our guiding documents. And I bring this up because I am against the Election Commission's interpretation of our city charter and the successive appointment procedure that cuts off the direct participation from constituents in electing our representatives. Because of this, I strongly recommend recognizing a community process for selecting appointment for a mayor and any other vacancies in November, either via a People's Assembly or an unofficial People's Ranked Choice voting, something that shows that there was some citizen participation. And then lastly, I just want to highlight that there's a group of us with Defend Affordable IPSI that has been working on a tenant protections petition. Some of you have seen it. I'm going to send you the information for the petition. We did talk to the city attorney who said that the clerk could not collect those petitions. You know, we are working with legal advisors that are talking about filing in circuit court, but I actually think that there's a lot of people on council right now that could be in support in all or part of this tenant protections petition. And so maybe we can just find a way to either work with council to put this on the ballot or to just put it into law via ordinances. So I ask you to put this language or this discussion of the petition on the next meeting, and so that we can explain what our intent and what we're doing. the petition has already enjoyed a lot of support. It has a lot of signatures already. And I think it would be something that a lot of people would benefit from. So I ask you to reach out to me and I'll talk to you about it, and we'll hopefully get it onto an agenda to talk about it more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amber.
Next, looks like it's Valerie Brown.
Yep, I will allow the individual to speak now.
Can you hear me? I'm taking Valerie Brown's spot. First of all, I want to, it's been on my mind all day long. Someone has to become the bigger person or the better person or the most lenient person sometimes for somebody else to rise. So therefore, I would have to congratulate Nicole Brown for making it possible that Mayor Pro Tem Richardson could become the first Black mayor of the city of Ypsilanti. She was the bigger person that did not want the Mayor Pro Tem position anymore, and she passed it on, and Sister Richardson got it. So I would have to congratulate Councilperson Brown first, and congratulations to Richardson also.
Thank you.
I want to start off on the right track. Since we got a new start, I want this council to respect each other. And the reason I say that because I had not in the past, I have not seen respect totally for each other, just for some. So I want the whole council to get in the mode of respecting one another. And I do not ever want anyone to be looked down on council or in the city for something that they are not doing or to please another person. It's three people that I feel real strongly about in leadership in the city of Ypsilanti. The first one is the city manager, Frances. I watched her come a long way, and I saw her bought things out of the muck and the mire to make the city shine. So I don't want anyone to come out wholeheartedly and grudging against Miss Frances, because she has done a lot for the city. She is a city manager for the whole city, and you don't usually get that. Another person, Ken Hobbs. He's a firefighter, a fire chief for the whole city. We don't usually get that. He can work on the south side, on the west side, on the east side, and don't have no problem doing it because he is a fire chief for the whole city. And then there's another person. She works in the detective department for the Ypsilanti Police Department. Her name is Annette Coppett. She is a detective for the whole city. She is for the good of the whole city of Ypsilanti. She has that thing about herself that can move the police department in the right direction if she is let and allowed to be so with the things that she knows. I don't want to have to come back to you guys and tell you I told you so, because I'm good at doing that. I want respect from everybody. Miss Frances holds the key to the city of Ypsilanti. The mayor is just, we got a weak mayor in Ypsilanti, but Miss Frances holds the key, and I want everybody on council to work with her and watch her track record from the city clerk up until where she's at now. She's done a great job, and we want our city to move forward with the great people that we have. And I do not ever want to have to come back now and tell you I told you so, because mayor have to be a mayor in my city. You can't be half. You got to be a mayor in my city. You have to treat everybody fair in my city. The fire chief, he has to be the fire chief. He has to treat everybody fair in my city, because I don't care however anybody else take it, this city belongs to me. And as long as I got breath in my body, I am going to make sure that people be respected and treated right. That's in my city. Y'all hear from me again. I ain't finished. Just wait. I'm done.
Thank you, Mr. Tucson. Next.
The next person with their hand raised is E.M. Hopner. Allow them to speak now.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes, okay.
Yes.
So I am also here today to talk about rent control and rent relief efforts in Ypsi. The affordability of properties in Ypsi has been decreasing drastically over the years, and unless we make big leaps to change that, the rising prices will just continue to push people out of their homes and out of their community. The petition that Amber spoke about and will be sending to you has the potential for some of those changes, and I urge you to consider pulling as many items from it onto this year's ballot as is possible. In particular, I find the creation of a landlord registry to be extremely important. Currently, landlords have no accountability to their tenants and to the well-being of the city. A registry alone would not change that, but it would create much needed transparency regarding the properties that landlords own. If done right, it could give the public easy to access data on how many properties a landlord owns, how much rent has been at each of these properties for the past 10 years and every year thereafter, whether a property is vacant or not, and all instances of vacancy in the past, what changes have or haven't been made to a property to make it more livable and accessible, and so on. When the language of this rent control petition is sent to you all, I urge you to read through it, consider all of it, and discuss it at the next City Council meeting. The second thing I've come to talk about is in regards to COVID-19 rent relief and eviction protection. Although the city has initiated the Barrier Busters program, this is not enough to properly address and support the extreme financial hardship this pandemic has had and will continue to have on people living in Ypsilanti. City and state governments everywhere need to be providing full relief and protection to everyone impacted by this, or else people remain at high risk of losing their home. I want to speak briefly on a possible resolution in regards to this. In June, Ithaca, New York voted in favor of a resolution that urged the state for their mayor and city council to have the authority to forgive back owed rent through the months of quarantine, to obligate landlords to offer lease extensions to all tenants at pre-COVID rates, and to support greater federal rent and mortgage forgiveness than what we had currently already. Inspired by this, a coalition of organizations in Michigan have written a resolution to urge very similar supports to our city and state governments. I sent this resolution to Mayor Lois Richardson last Friday, and I've sent it to members of City Council just before this meeting. I urge you all to read it, respond to it, and then pass it through to our city government if possible. And that is all. Thank you.
The next individual with their hand up is Brian, and I'll allow them to speak now.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, Brian.
Good.
We can see you too.
I know, I clicked the button. How's it going? It's so good to see all of your faces. Ken Hobbs giving me a big smile. So nice to see you all. I want to start off, and Nicole, I want to start off by just saying how happy I am to imagine the city government in the current position as compared to the one that I started being aware of in 2017 when I first started attending meetings with Mayor Alan Richardson, Ken Hobbs, Francis McMullen, in the positions they are. I think it's just absolutely wonderful. And I hope that what we can see in the upcoming months and years is a transition from I think the predominantly neoliberal regime sort of thinking that has been present in our government. So especially not providing resources and community projects to people, but more focusing on development mostly. I think that it's exciting for that to change. And I want to sort of frame the last few years as some in which a lot of sort of community participation in government has sprung up out of community backlash to the idea of international village. And as somebody who was a signature gatherer for the petition that has been talked about by Desiree, Amber, and M, I can tell you that the amount people are paying for rent in Ypsi is still absolutely on the forefront of everyone's mind. Everyone, especially people who are renters, are just so excited, or we're so excited to hear that we were trying to do something about rent control and other renters' rights. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to submit those signatures and get that petition on the ballot because of the state law. But I hope that we can reimagine ways forward. And I want to reiterate what Desiree, Amber, and M have said about the power that you all have on council to either directly enact some of these ordinances, right of first refusal and extensions to just cause eviction and a landlord registry, directly, or to make it a ballot question so it can be put on the city charter. Other things to consider that we have talked about in the past include lifting the ban on more than 3 unrelated adults living together, which, most people seem to think is ridiculous, including council, but still is on the books as far as I know. A similar thing with that, in that same vein, is the ban on flyering, and in particular, coinciding with exiting a neoliberal regime, the creation of public kiosks to share information could go miles, I think, in the city. I had one more thing, but I also just wanted to lift up what Desiree said about sort of reimagining it and making sure that the process of choosing the mayor come November is transparent and a process that people in the city can feel empowered by rather than disempowered by. And I think that's all I got. I want to just say congratulations so much to Lois Allen Richardson. I'm so excited to see what the next few months hold.
Thank you, Brian. Next.
Before I allow the next person to speak, I want to make sure, can council hear the timer when it goes off? No?
Barely.
Yes, I can hear it.
I heard it this
I
last
heard it one time.
Okay.
Okay.
Now the next individual to speak is named Larry. I'll allow them to talk now.
Hi, this is Larry Yap. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I received another one of Mr. Barr's letters today. It basically is the same message that he's been giving me for 4 years. He has been stonewalling. I don't know how else to say it. And I don't know what the problem is or why there's such an issue. but the city refuses to pick up the phone, call me, schedule a meeting, sit down, talk. His letters basically are not helpful. They're not accomplishing anything. Long ago, he said the city had no money to spend on resolving issues in the alley. And yet he spent the last 4 years wasting city money rather than sitting down and dealing with the issues. He keeps kicking the can down the road, which is accomplishing nothing. I've asked for a sit down. I would appreciate if you would respect my wish and have somebody sit down with me. The most recent letter, I do want to pick up one thing that he said today. He said those are fire escapes. I disagree. Those are stairways for the convenience of the owners. And I challenge him to come up with any documentation from the city that does actually show the permits, show the city authorization, show that those were approved to be fire escapes. They're not necessary to be fire escapes. There's other ways to do it. And they're in the city land. They're in the city land, they're in the city alley, and those fire escapes are blocking, those stairways really are blocking and interfering with our access to a city alley. Those are private stairways built on city land. No zoning, no permits, no HDC application. And it's my personal interpretation and opinion that the city does not have the right to waive applications. Get the people to put the applications in and then go through the process of seeing whether those are legitimate or not. I don't know what else to say. I've been trying for years to get this resolved. I'm not going away, okay? This is the access to my building. I am not going away. Continuing to send Mr. Barr to send me letters that don't do anything is just a waste of city time. Please, I'd like to sit down and work through the multiple issues back there. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. I think if you were in my shoes, you would expect the respect of being willing to sit down with me. And that's all I'm asking. Let's sit down and work through the issues instead of just deferring them and wasting everybody's time. Please. That's all I want to say at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any others that would like to speak before we close public hearing?
I'm not seeing anyone else with their hand up.
Okay. We'll close. If there's no others, then we will close the public comment time. There were a couple of things that I heard, and Chief, would you begin to look at the issues that we heard about the fireworks and come up with some things that we could possibly, ways that we can possibly change our ordinances and to accommodate the things that were mentioned, particularly I think we maybe should look at adjusting that 2 o'clock, 2 a.m. time for fireworks to continue to go off. I know they've been going off in my area a lot longer than the 3 days that were authorized. So also, Ms. Hopner, I did get your the resolution that you sent me, and I hope other council members got a chance to read it. I did talk to Mr. Barr, and I was informed by him that the city, only the state has a right to make the changes that the city and Ithaca were able to make. We can't, as a city, cannot make those. Mr. Barr, at the next meeting, would you give us a short presentation on that? Or if you feel and want to, if you're comfortable now, just speak a couple of words on the fact that we can't, as a city, do that.
Yes, I can present next week. And today what I can say is that the state legislature has pretty much taken away the authority on this. There was a state law some years ago that removed all of the right of the city to regulate rent in the city. But I can prepare a memo and elaborate on it for next week if you wish.
I would, if you would, please. Okay.
Yes.
And let's see. Okay. I believe those were the things that I really wanted to speak to. Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda, clerk. Okay.
The next item on the agenda would be the election of Mayor Pro Tem, term expiring November 9th, 2020. So there would need to be nominations, a second for that nomination, that individual would need to support, accept the nomination, and then so on and so forth.
Okay. Are there any?
I move. Oh.
Is there anyone that wants to? Was that? I heard a voice. Okay, Councilmember.
Yeah, I was going to move to nominate someone.
Okay. Go ahead.
I move to nominate Councilmember Brown to elect her as Mayor Pro Tem.
Is there a second for that?
Second it.
Or
Okay. It's moved and it has been moved and second. Okay. Are there any other nominations?
I move to nominate myself.
Okay. Is there a second for that?
Don't we have to vote on what I?
don't we have to, do one at a time?
First, Councilmember Brown would have to accept the nomination.
Oh, okay. I accept.
All right. Is there a second for Councilmember Morgan's nomination? Okay. Okay, seeing none. Clerk, would you please continue with carry through that the vote on that nomination?
This is a roll call vote to elect Councilmember Brown as Mayor Pro Tem, term expiring November 9th, 2020. Councilmember Somerville,
Yes.
Mayor Richardson,
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilcoxen,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown.
Yeah.
Motion carries, and Councilmember Brown is elected Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Right. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Brown, for accepting that nomination. Appreciate that. Look forward to working with you for the next several months, and we can see what we can do. Okay. The clerk.
The next item on the agenda is Resolution 2020-140. Resolved by the Council of the City of Ypsilanti that the minutes of June 16, 2020 be approved.
Do I hear a nomination? I mean, a motion?
Move.
Support.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and supported by Councilmember Wilcoxen and supported by Councilmember Brown to accept the minutes. Would you carry that? Is that a consensus vote or is that a roll call?
All votes are roll call for the Zoom meetings.
All right, thank you.
Mayor Richardson,
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilcoxen,
Yeah.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Somerville.
Yes.
Motion carries with 6 yes.
All right, thank you. The next item on the agenda, please?
The next item on the agenda is resolution number 2020-141. Resolved by the council of the city of Ypsilanti that the following be appointed to the city of Ypsilanti boards and commissions located below. Ben Connerberry, Parks and Recreation, expiration July 1st, 2023. Kurt Coleman, Parks and Recreation, expiration July 1st, 2023. Ashanti Harris, Parks and Recreation, expiration July 1st, 2023.
So moved.
Do we have someone to make the motion?
I move.
Councilmember Brown?
Support.
Or
Okay, I heard Councilmember Morgan, I think just a little bit before you, Councilmember Somerville. So, okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Brown and supported by Councilmember Morgan to pass this resolution. Would you call the roll, please, clerk?
Councilmember Morgan,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilcoxen,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Somerville,
yes.
Mayor Richardson.
Yes.
Motion carries with 6 yes votes.
Thank you.
Next resolution is resolution number 2020-142. Resolved by the council of the city of Ypsilanti that the attached fee schedule is adopted pursuant to the Ypsilanti City Code, and the following fees related to various sections of the city code and activities of the city are hereby established, and the various city departments are authorized to charge and collect such fees.
Would someone move?
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Councilmember Brown and supported by Councilmember Somerville. Was that who I heard?
Morgan.
Morgan, I'm sorry. Moved by Councilmember Morgan and supported by Somerville. Is that who I heard, or was that Brown?
Councilmember Simmons.
It was me.
Jennifer.
It was Simmons, okay.
There we go.
All those voices sound alike. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Okay, is there a discussion on this, or is someone going to, is there a staff report on this, or are we just going to vote?
Sure. As I stated in the RFL, we did not change any of our fee schedule this time around, and specifically it's because of what we've experienced through COVID and what our community is facing. We thought we should leave all of our funds flat as they are. And then next year we will see, depending on if we've added any things, any new features, if we will consider raising any of our fees. But at this moment, we think our fees are comparable to communities of our size and for the services that we provide. So we are asking that council would approve the fee schedule, because we have to do it annually, but to keep our fees as they are.
Okay. Any discussion from council? Any questions? Councilmember Wilcoxen.
I'll defer to Councilmember Brown.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
No problem. Thank you. I was just gonna say, thank you to staff and to the city manager for, keeping these fees the same this year, being that we know what we're experiencing. I think it makes sense to do that, especially if it's not going to be to any detriment to the city, that we're not collecting any increased fees on anything this year. So I appreciate considering the impact that it's having on the community by keeping these the same. That's all.
Thank you. Councilmember Wilcoxen.
I realize these are the same fees, and I agree. It's good that these have not gone up. I remember looking at this last year, and I looked at them again this year, and there's things that I didn't remember and didn't understand. So if I could ask a couple questions, that would be great.
Sure.
Sure.
Under 18-153, there's a reinspection notice there, and I guess I just want to have a conversation offline, but I want to remind here about the reinspections that occur, that new infractions are put during new inspections, And so there was a couple of people that came before us that said that this just kept building and building, and more citations were given with each inspection, and they never got to the point where they resolved any of those things. I wanted to have a conversation about that. There's some contractor service fees that I don't understand under 102, 104. I think this is on page 6 of 24. The contractor service pass and an employee service pass. And I just don't know what those are. And I was just wondering what those were pertaining to.
Is that under parking?
Traffic and vehicle fees, yeah.
Anything else?
Wow, there's a lot here. Sorry. Just going through. One other thing. Under parking violation fees, additional notice violation fee. There's a graded thing for that, and I'm not sure what that is. I understand what the parking violations, but what's the additional notice fee for?
I had that question too.
And then that's it.
City manager, would you like me to explain the reinspection?
Oh, I was waiting on him. I'm sorry.
Oh.
No, I'm done. I'm sorry.
So I will take a stab at this, and then I will let Andrew talk about the difference between the contractor's pass, which is basically for work, and an employee contractor pass, but he'll get more into that. And then also the fee for the additional notice, which means every notice you get for your fee goes up. But first, I'll take a stab at the reinspection fee. Basically, we did have a lot of people, and we still today have a lot of people complaining about that because they feel they should not be. This is when they have missed their, sometimes when they've missed their inspection and they still are charged the reinspection fee. That's usually when they have a problem. That means maybe they were ordered to do some, we scheduled it, or they pulled a permit to do some work and we had to go back out to reinspect it, and maybe they missed it, but they still got charged it. And that's because we went through the paperwork, and then we also made an attempt to reinspect. So most of the time people feel that they should not be charged the reinspection fee if we weren't able to gain access. So that's usually what they come and complain about. Joe, if you'd like to bring them up to speed on that and just shed a little bit more light on that.
Yeah, so the only difference, so I think Councilmember Wisconsin, are you talking about Mr. Rajabi in particular?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's actually a completely separate fee. That's a reinspection for a building permit. You're talking about a reinspection for a rental permit?
I think it's for a rental.
Yeah, no, Mr. Rajabi's concern is as a reinspection on a water heater. And so that one's a much lengthier issue, and we've had many meetings with the new mayor and the city manager, and nothing we can do will actually make that individual happy outside of not following building code, which we can't do. So when we went out to inspect that particular one, there was many issues. And so, yes, one of them was missed. We offered to reinspect it for free. He refused because he feels like he should not have to actually follow building code.
So Joe, thank you for that clarification for that particular case, but I'm kind of talking in general.
Yeah.
Why we charge a reinspection fee.
Oh, I get that. I get that. I was just
Okay, so
trying
I didn't know, okay, so you didn't make it clear if you were specific for a specific case or not.
Yeah.
But that is
All right.
also what we get our complaints about. The fact that when we go out to reinspect, usually there's something else that they didn't get, and then they allege that our staff should have said it the first time.
Right.
Just to add to the city manager,
Sure.
sometimes there's 3 to 6 months in between the inspections. And so certain things can happen and unpermitted work can be observed that was completed after that inspection. So There are many, many reasons for it, but there's various reasons why.
Thank you.
Councilmember Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have all of my questions. I have 3 questions on the same page, and it's not about the fee schedule per se. And I think I'm talking to Joe Myers. I want to ask a question. On page 2 of 24, where it's talking about the business occupancy permit and the business occupancy permit with or without change, there used to be a fee, and then they waived that fee. Why did they take those off the books?
Because we started a business inspection license.
Okay.
And so if you look, let me get there. Because we realized that we were never inspecting any business once they got a certificate of occupancy, and we have some businesses that have serious code violations. So with we're on page 2 of 24. So the business occupancy permit went away, and then all of the retail, restaurant, medical, automotive, industrial, assembly, those are all new fees to basically replace those 2 fees.
Okay. And all the other line items on that page, from where it says retail all the way down to right above vacant buildings, in 2018, 2019, those are not fees. And now it's a group of fees, even though they probably won't increase. Where did like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 other line items of additions? So before 2019, how long were those prices not involved in this?
So prior to 2019, and we've had a slow rollout of the business inspection based on COVID, but prior to 2019, you would come in to get a business occupancy permit. Most people wouldn't, because they would just get a certificate of occupancy, which is different. Or no, that is the same, I apologize. But so we kind of took the business occupancy permit and the business license, combined them through ordinance, and then realized, since we're going to be doing these every 2 years, there was a cost to review a much larger building and a smaller building. So we had to create different fee structures. So before, we would go in and say, okay, you're good to set up right now. And then over the years, they would change things. We saw a lot of issues. We had to shut down one of our liquor stores that had an incident at it, because they basically went in over the years and did a whole bunch of unpermitted work that was pretty dangerous to the employees, where they were storing empty cans over an electrical box. And so those are things that we really want to make sure employees are safe. And so we haven't started charging all of these yet, because we're just starting right now with the business inspections, but it's going to be a slow phase in based on COVID,
Okay.
because a lot of our businesses aren't open right now.
Okay, because I don't want it to look like, of course with COVID, we're attempting to not raise fees and we're attempting to keep them the same. However, if we got like 12 or 13 additional fees that didn't exist last year, it could still seem that they're rolling out and it could still experience more of the price gouging.
Well, these were all fees that we enacted at the beginning of last year.
Okay.
So the reason why this is different is we kept last year's fee schedule the same.
Okay.
And so all of these fees were for 2019-20 fiscal year, and we're just continuing on for year number 2.
Thank you, Joe.
No problem.
Okay.
Congratulations, Nicole.
Yes, clerk.
Andrew didn't answer his questions. There were a couple additional questions, and that's what he's raised his hand for.
Oh, okay.
Yes, correct. Council, so under the traffic and vehicle fees, the contractor service pass is in a residential area, and that is other known as a service vehicle pass. A property owner that rents out can purchase these passes at the same price as a typical residential permit, and then give them to contractors that are there to do work on the property. The employee service pass, as you can see, it's a $300 fee, and that is for a downtown employee. So that's a yearly charge. They can also buy them in 4-month increments for $115. But that's for the differences on those 2 items. And if you could remind me, what was your third question, Councilmember Wilcoxon?
It was additional notice.
Additional violation fee. Yeah.
Additional notice violation fee.
And that was
I
on.
think every time they get a different notice, the fee schedule goes up.
Yeah, I mean, the fees, the parking tickets increase every 14 business days. Could you say what page that was on?
This is on page 23 of 24, and I see that it increases after 14 days and after 28 days, but then the second one where it's $10 more on those days, is that after 28 days those start over again, or?
No, they're capped after the third increase. So let me see this. 23. So additional notice violation fee.
This is for a single ticket.
Yeah.
If you have to notify them again, they get charged another fee.
That's not something we actually charge. The 102.81. That might be a little outdated. I have to look at the ordinance, and I can provide that to council in
That's fine. I don't want to take up a lot of time with this, but yeah.
But if you look at the 102.82, that's what our parking fees are. So I'll have to take a look at that. Or parking fines, rather.
Right. It's just we've had a couple of people come before us that it seems like their parking violations have escalated to at some points. Similar situations. I just want to understand what this looks like.
There's only 2 increases, like one after the 14 business days and one after the 28 business days. After that, it's capped and the ticket won't increase any further.
Gotcha.
Any other questions or comments? I'm not seeing our other 2 council people. Councilmember Simmons or Al Somerville, do you have any questions or comments? Okay. All right, Kirk Halinga, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilcoxen,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Somerville,
Yes.
Mayor Richardson,
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan.
Yes.
Motion carries with 6 yes votes.
All right, thank you very much for that. Is the next resolution, is that the one that we are gonna ask Mr. Akers to give us a presentation on? If I'm remembering correctly.
No, this is a vehicle for the fire department.
Oh, I'm sorry, for the fire department. I moved to fire, okay. Yes. Fire Chief Hobbs, did you wanna talk about that resolution?
Mayor, if I could read it into the record and put it on the table.
Okay, thank you.
Resolved by the council of the city of Ypsilanti, whereas Fire Marshal Pope was entitled to receive the fire department's 2016 Ford Escape on June 3rd, 2020. And whereas mayor and city council approved the city of Ypsilanti's fire department budget on June 2nd, 2020 to include a new fire chief's vehicle. And whereas Chief Hobbs is currently in the process of searching within the approved budget amount of $32,000 from account number 641-7-9340-987-10. Now therefore be it resolved that the Ypsilanti City Council authorized Fire Chief Hobbs to purchase a new fire chief's vehicle to cover all costs associated with the new vehicle purchase.
So move.
Second.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded by Councilmember Morgan and Councilmember Wilcoxen supporting. Discussion. Well, no, can we hear from you, Fire Chief Hobbs? Would you like a word to say about it? Thank
you. We've kind of gone over it through the budget process, and the price kind of went all over the place. It's not going to be a hybrid vehicle. I can find a vehicle on my bid state website, a 2020 vehicle, an SUV that's practical for my purposes, and then it can be used as a command vehicle. I can have it lights and fit it with sirens and everything. For I estimate the cost of $32,000, which is way down from where we originally started. And I just appreciate council supporting this. Do you have any questions for me beyond that?
Any questions for Chief Hobbs? Any discussion?
Yeah. Does it have to be yellow or red? Does it have to be
Gotta be
colored?
white.
Fire-
Our utility vehicles are white and our trucks are yellow. White and yellow. That's it.
Is YFD? Are you getting a decal of Ypsi Fire Department on the side?
I will get some. This is the City of Ypsilanti Fire Department on it. Not the decal.
Cool.
Yes.
That's my only 2 cents.
All right.
Any other questions or comments? All right, it's nice to have a little bit of levity. Thank you, Councilmember Morgan, for that. If there's no other discussion, Kirk Kalinga, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Wilcoxon,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Somerville,
Yes.
Mayor Richardson,
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons.
Yes.
With 6 yes, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, Clerk Kalinga, would you please read the next resolution? Thank you.
Resolution number 2020-144, resolved by the Council of the City of Ypsilanti, whereas the collection of curbside recycling and yard waste is an ongoing and important service offered to residents in the City of Ypsilanti, and whereas an environmental dump truck is vital to the necessary to collect recycling and yard waste, and whereas the City Council of the City of Ypsilanti has allocated the funds in the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget for this purchase, and whereas the purchase price of the vehicle is less than the budget amount of $231,000, now therefore be it resolved that the City of Ypsilanti approves the purchase from Frederickson Supply in the amount totaling $208,099 to be expended from account 641-7-9350-987-10.
So move.
Support.
Okay, we have Councilmember Morgan moving and Councilmember Somerville supporting.
Simmons.
Simmons.
You say what?
Simmons.
Simmons.
Simmons? Okay, she's not in front of me. I'm sorry, Councilmember Simmons. I thought I saw Somerville, I saw you speaking. That's why I said that.
That's okay.
I thought you leaned forward and spoke. Okay. So it's been properly moved and supported. Mr. Akers, you have a presentation for us.
Yes, Mayor. So the requested purchase is a scheduled vehicle replacement for one of our environmental dump trucks, which we use for curbside recycling and yard waste collection. Our current oldest dump truck that we'll be proposing to replace is 14 years old, and it's been in continuous operation since 2006. So we're members of the Rochester Hills Municipal Cooperative Group, which 60 communities get together and use their purchasing power to provide competitive bids for these large municipal vehicles. And so because of that, the quote complies with their city's purchasing ordinance. So the price of the vehicle is broken down into the body price and the chassis price. The truck and chassis, we're proposing to purchase the Peterbilt brand. The reason why we selected is because the cab of the truck is actually closer to the ground, so when our workers are getting in and out, it's less steps and it's closer and easier for them in an effort to reduce injuries. The dump body is a Leach dump body. It has, we're proposing a rear loader with the car tippers on the back of the rear loader. Leach is a reputable vendor. Our current vehicles have Leach dump bodies, and we've been fairly happy with them. With the freight charges, the total cost is projected to be $208,099. The price is below the original budgeted amount for the vehicle, which is $231,000. And as indicated in the resolution, funds were carried over from the 1920 budget to cover this expenditure. I do want to highlight that as we've gone through and discussed some of these larger vehicles, council has requested information that staff provide alternative energy options. So one of the things that we've discussed before is using propane as a viable alternative. So I just wanted to go over really quick. It wasn't in the memo, but there's two types of propane conversion systems that you can put on these type of vehicles. The first actually takes the propane and blends it with the diesel fuel. It has using that system, it has the potential to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 20%, and the system has a cost of approximately $7,000. The second propane conversion system, the engine starts off using diesel fuel and switches over to 100% propane after the engine reaches a certain temperature. Once it actually switches over to 100% propane, there's zero particulate matter that comes out of the tailpipes, and the system is actually advertised to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 35%. So if we purchase this system, the second one, we'd be in a pilot program with the EPA. They're working to get this system approved for widespread use in the United States. Supposedly the system is widely used in Europe, however. The added cost of it has been quoted, and that's the price that's included in the RFL. It has been quoted at an additional $24,570. And the price of the vehicle with that option is in the bid. These options aren't built in when they come from the factory. They're actually converted over after they're constructed by the dealer. So they can be added at a later time at any time. So we don't have to add it right now. One of the reasons why we're actually not recommending it to be added right now is because we don't have the propane filling infrastructure at our DPW yard. The closest propane filling station is outside of the city limits on Carpenter and I believe it's Carpenter and
Ellsworth.
So it essentially having our employees leave to fill up propane takes such amount of time out of their day that we would rather have them actually doing work within the city. You know, the propane filling station was removed because of COVID and the budget. If it's something that council wishes to see us do next year, I'm happy to re-put it in the schedule and consider it at that time. But until then, adding these systems into these vehicles, I don't believe makes sense until we have the infrastructure to support it. So that is essentially my recommendation with those systems. There's an option. We always can install them if council wishes to do so, but it probably would be a good idea for us to wait. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions council may have.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Councilmember Morgan, is your hand up?
Well, I was going to ask a question, but I was pushing the unmute button. I just wanted to ask questions. Thank you for the presentation, Ron. The truck that we have now, the one that this one is replacing, does it have those additions on it that you named?
No, it doesn't have any of the propane conversion kits. It runs on diesel. Actually, you know, the advantage of updating these trucks too is that the federal emission standards have changed. And so actually and I don't know the exact number, but I do understand that these new vehicles perform a lot better with regards to greenhouse gas emissions than the ones that were built 14 years ago.
Are we taking this one out of rotation, or will it be working in some capacity along with the new vehicle?
The 14-year-old vehicle will be auctioned off. So we've had several vehicle replacements over the last year. We're actually getting ready to auction some of our vehicles. So when we receive delivery of the new vehicle, we'll auction off our old trash truck.
Okay. And last thing, is this with different recycling methods and like I said, additions, can this truck hold hazardous materials?
I don't believe so. I think there's specific DOT guidelines when you're transporting hazardous materials. The only thing that we'd use it for would be either yard waste or recycling.
Thank you. No further questions, Mayor. Thank you,
All
Ron.
right, thank you. Councilmember Wilcoxon.
I got a lot of questions for you, Ron. I was looking at the cab construction of these. Is there ergonomic and safety benefits to any of the four different, doing lower in driving those, and what's that configuration look like, and what's that mean for the person driving the truck?
If I miss any part of your question, you cut out for a second, but I think I got the gist of it. So the current trucks that we've been using are Freightliner brand. The actual truck portion actually sits higher up, and so what happens is if somebody's on a recycling route, they might drive it forward a couple feet, they have to climb out, go down a couple steps, collect recycling your yard waste, and then climb up the ladder to get back in the vehicle. These Peterbilt chassis are built kind of like the Mack chassis that you see on a lot of trash trucks. So you're taking that, from 2 to 3 steps down to 1 step. And so what that does is it reduces impacts on the joints, and it prevents knee injuries, leg injuries, twisted ankles, that type of stuff. So that was the reason why we switched over to that. The primary reason why we switched over to that brand.
So I was looking, they had ones that you can drive from inside and drive from outside. Was that an option that?
Not that I'm aware of. I do know the trucks that they have actual dual steering on them, so you can drive the vehicle from either the right or the left side of the cab. There's 2 steering wheels.
I must have misunderstood that.
I don't believe they have the ability to drive them from the outside.
Okay. They also make electric vehicles. Was that considered when you were looking at these, and what was the cost differentiation for that?
So there's a couple of things that we looked at when we tried to find electric trucks for. So there's a number of companies that are testing right now electric recycling, electric dump trucks like this. However, they don't actually offer any of them for sale yet. There are some markets where they are testing. A lot of them are on the West Coast. Part of and this was a conversation I've had with our mechanics too. Part of the concern with using some of those larger battery operated vehicles is that I guess the batteries, the large batteries that they use for those type of trucks have a real tough time in the cold weather. So that's a concern that I think they're trying to figure out right now. But from what we couldn't find any electric garbage trucks for sale that were approved for use in the United States. I know they have some in Europe, I believe.
Okay.
But I know they're testing them, and within a couple of years, that might be a realistic option.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion? Okay, seeing none. Do we have a Clerk Kalenga? Where are you? I'm not seeing you.
I'm right here.
Okay. Thank you. There are no questions or no discussion. So Clerk Kalenga, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Wilcoxon?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Brown?
Yes.
Councilmember Somerville?
Yes.
Mayor Richardson?
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan?
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons?
Yes.
Motion carries with 6 yes votes.
Thank you. All right, so Mr. Akers, you get your new truck.
Thank you very
Yay.
much.
I'm sure that you're happy about that. Yes, so.
Absolutely.
Okay. Clerk Kalenga, next on the agenda, please.
It is resolved by the Council of the City of Ypsilanti that the Act 480 of 2006 franchise agreement with Comcast with a 10-year term from 2020 to 2030, providing for a franchise fee of 5%, is approved, and the mayor and the city clerk are authorized to sign for and on behalf of the City of Ypsilanti, subject to the approval of the city attorney.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Support.
Okay, supported by, I saw Councilmember Brown's hand. Who supported it? Somerville?
Somerville.
All right, got it right this time. Thank you. It's been moved and second. Is there any discussion or any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Councilmember Morgan.
Just curious, in the last 10 years with that 5% fee schedule, what did that look like in forms of compensation for the city? And does that, and in the next 10 years, what's that projection of that looking like?
Can you help us with that, city manager?
Yes. I'm not aware of what it says, but Reagan, do you have an accounting?
Reagan's here.
Yeah, Reagan's here.
Okay.
Because if I'm not mistaken, like they use some of our crosswalks to put some of their material on, so they're giving us a fee to do that.
I think he's turned
Well,
on.
Okay, Mr. Byer or Reagan, could you answer this question for us, please?
I'd be happy to talk about.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said we may have to get back with you with that figure.
Okay.
Councilmember Moore.
Okay, and with that, I just want to know again the benefits. If it's been more of a benefit to Comcast or a benefit to the city. Thank you.
I can mention something about that, Your Honor.
Yes, please do.
The law provides that if a utility company uses the city right-of-way, that the city is entitled to require a franchise agreement and charge for that use. Back about 12 or 15 years ago, AT&T and some other franchisors lobbied the state of Michigan, and they got the state to pass a uniform franchise law. That law requires that the franchises all be pretty much similar and use the similar language, and it authorizes a franchise fee of from 1% to 5% for the use of the city facilities. Originally, we negotiated the fee of 5%. That's the maximum that can be charged, and that continues on with this present franchise agreement if council approves it. I'm sorry, I can't tell you what the figures are, but I think Reagan could probably do that.
Good evening. Yes, I'm trying to take a look at it now. Let me just a few more minutes.
Take your time. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here. Okay. So franchise fee, we usually get around 220,000
per year or in the 10 years.
Oh, that's per year.
220,000 per year.
Yes.
Where does that money show up on the budget? Wow.
Yeah, it's this is the Cat B franchise fees, all those. I can provide you a breakdown, a more detailed breakdown. I'm just looking at what we have in the budget right now. But yeah, usually we collect around 220,000. Previous year we did get 211.
It's close to $2 million over the length of this term. Okay. Thank you. I was curious about what it would look like. And so thank you for those numbers.
Are you saying that's from Comcast only?
Right.
I think we have two providers in the city. I would have to take a look at the detail. One is Comcast. I can't remember the other.
Can I ask this question while I'm still, is that customary, Attorney Barr? Is it 10 years for a utility company? Is that, because I guess within the terms that you mentioned that it was a 1% to 5%. So they gave us the window for what we could barter for or what we could ask for. And is it 10 years? Is that on the low end or is that the high max also?
Well, the 10 years is mandated by state statute. That's the total length that can be on the franchise agreement. And 10 years ago, when we negotiated this agreement, there was a question whether or not we were collecting franchise fees for the use of Comcast on the campus of EMU. I hired a specialist, Neil Lato, who reviewed the contract, and Comcast at that time agreed to pay us for the total of the city, including EMU. But the 10 years is the standard length of the term.
Final question: do we have an option to opt out of this in year 7 if we needed to, or must we wait to the duration of the contract?
With the 10-year contract, we don't have an opt-out provision. If we want to get out of this type of provision, we have to show cause. And at the next to the last department head meeting, I think I asked all the department heads to let me know if there was any problem with the Comcast service in the city. I haven't received any complaints or any problems on it. I suppose the city could say we're not going to do with this. We're not going to agree to have Comcast in the city, but they serve a lot of the city residents and they do franchise fee.
Thank you, Attorney Barr, for that clarity. Thank you, Reagan, for the numbers. No further questions.
I think the other one is from UVerse, ATT UVerse, but I can provide you more detail.
Okay, Reagan, that's fine. Thank you. Appreciate that. Councilmember Wilcoxon.
I'm curious about this. If there's two, one is UVerse and one is Comcast, then what's happening with all of the MetroNet installations that are having? Do we have a contract with them? And is that in the works? If we move to having Wi-Fi in the city and providing Wi-Fi throughout the city as a right of being a citizen in the city of Ypsilanti, how does this contract affect that? You know, if we move to that with some other provider, is there a recourse for Comcast to come back and say that we've reneged on this contract?
Mr. Barr.
The short answer is no. The state has also regulated fiber in the city, and there's an act called the Metro Act, and those contracts are all regulated by the Metro Act. A few meetings ago, we did have a discussion about some of the fiber in the city and the length of the tall of the pole, the length, height of the poles, and different things like that.
Right.
Most of it's regulated by state law.
Okay, Councilmember Wilcoxon, anything else?
No.
No, that answered your question. Okay, any other questions or discussion? Okay, seeing none. Councilmember Simmons, I can't see you. Is your hand up or are you okay?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Are there, seeing no more questions or discussion, Clerk Kalinga, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Somerville,
Yes.
Mayor Richardson,
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan,
Yes.
Councilmember Simmons,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilcoxon.
Yeah.
6 yes votes, the motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. Clerk, the next item on the agenda, please.
That's it.
Next item on the agenda is council proposed business.
Okay. Mr. Wilcoxon, you're at the top of my screen. Why don't we start with you?
Wow, didn't really have anything. I guess I'll pass.
All right. Councilmember Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
I wanted to respond to, well, I know when people were talking about having a registry or a directory for some of the property owners here in the city, and I'm for that. Like a Carfax, we should have a Lord fax, like a slumlord fax. We should know some of the pertinent details that come with rental histories and different things over time. So I do support that. I did go to the abolitionist block party. I think it's a lot of things. And first, I just want to speak to the city of Ypsilanti and just say thank you for staying true to your moral code of ethics and allowing us to still continue to serve you. Thank you for the new leadership. Thank you for being with us through this transition. And we hope to serve you proudly still. And with that said, we're just doing a lot of business, working in conjunction with some things that are kind of loose now. They're trying to tie up, bringing some resources to the city in development fashion. But besides that, I'm trying to wait to get back on the business. I know Councilwoman Somerville and I have a Zoom meeting tomorrow. I know we have a short meeting agenda tonight. But congratulations, Councilwoman Brown. Congratulations, Mayor. I'm done.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Morgan. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Thank you, Councilmember Morgan. Nothing too intense. I think Mayor Richardson already talked about the fireworks. I had that written down actually even prior to public comment about some of the calls that I've been receiving about fireworks outside of the window that is allotted for them to be utilized. So I would love to see us at least, match our times with the township and the surrounding areas. I think that would make a lot of sense as a starting point. I lost my train of thought that fast. Oh, I also wanted to just highlight the fact that our collaboration with Eastern Michigan for the masks and those items, they have fulfilled the allotment that we had partnered with them to procure. And so just super excited that that went off so smoothly and they were able to provide us with the masks so quickly. It was such an easy working relationship with them. And so hopefully, we'll see where that takes us right now. And if we need to double back and work with them further, that, it was just a really good experience. And just excited that we could collaborate with our local university to provide those items to the community. And then lastly, just along the lines of what Councilmember Morgan said, I just want to thank the community for being a voice and being steadfast in, the values of this community and what they expect from us as leaders, as well as what they expect just from the community as a whole. And so I am proud to be serving in this capacity, and I thank my fellow council members for your faith in me to serve as Mayor Pro Tem for the next few months. And I just look forward to all of us, working together and moving us forward and working on that healing that we've been talking about in different, pockets with community members in the past few weeks and, for the long haul, honestly. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Brown. Councilmember Somerville.
Hello. One main item, because I've already followed up with everyone offline on some other issues. I'm hoping to see if we can lock down the reschedule, a rescheduled meeting with the Police Advisory Commission. I watched the meeting last week. I got there a little bit late, but I was there for the rest of the time. And I was able to meet up with one of the commissioners after that meeting. So they have another meeting on July 23rd. I think it's a Thursday. So I was hoping if others can commit tonight, if we could just schedule that so that we can get it, so we can have that on the books for this month. I don't know if others have any thoughts.
Are you asking? Yep. We have our joint meeting in their regular meeting on the 23rd.
Yeah, they have a regular meeting on the 23rd of July. So I was hoping maybe we could, if folks know about their availability now, maybe we could lock that in.
I support that.
Well, I think we would have to clear that also with the commission and see if what they have planned for their regular meeting and see if they're willing to make it a combined meeting. I certainly can talk with Mr. Fanta about that. Councilmember Brown.
Oh, I don't have anything. I was just saying that I'm open to that.
So yeah, I guess my question tonight is, does that work for council at least, so we can does it even work for everyone? I don't know. I know that I talked to Nicole briefly about it earlier today, and that was as far as I got. So I don't know if others have anything happening on July 23rd.
Ooh, I would have to really check my calendar. I'm not sure. I know that I've got something earlier in that day, and so, but I can check my calendar. I too have been thinking about the fact that we really did need to reschedule that joint meeting. So I will work on that. Okay. Is everybody saying that they're possibly available the 23rd evening, if it works for the commission for us to have a joint meeting?
Yeah, I mean, I can make myself available. Who's setting the agenda for that meeting? Is it just their regular agenda meeting and we're just a part of it?
Well, if we're going to have a joint meeting, I think we would work together jointly to set the agenda. Councilmember Simmons, are you available on the 23rd?
I think I am. I can have to double check my calendar, but I think I should be able to be available.
Okay. All right. If you could let us know, because I will go on and reach out to Mr. Fanta. And thank you for bringing that up, Councilmember Somerville. That was on my list also.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Yes.
Thank you.
Did you have anything else?
I pretty much covered everything offline. I had a few things pop up over the last week, but I'm got it under control. So thanks.
Okay, you mean pop up in your ward?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. All right, as long as everything's under control, thank you. Councilmember Simmons.
Thanks. I think we've had a few things pop up in our ward that I was able to take care of with staff. So thanks for that. Ron, I appreciate still that you're moving around the speed signs. I know residents are appreciative of those still moving around and, trying to help calm traffic in different areas around the city. So thank you for that. And Les, I just want to say I'm also, as with everyone else, looking forward to moving forward. Congratulations, Mayor Richardson. Proud to be working with you as our first African-American female mayor. So thank you for that. And other than that, just looking forward to working with everyone and moving forward as we go through the rest of this year.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Clerk Kalinga. Is the mayor up next or the city manager?
The next item on the agenda is communications from the mayor.
All right, thank you.
And I'm sorry to interrupt. On that, you had the discussion regarding use seats on boards and commissions.
Okay, and I don't want us to go into discussing it, full discussion of that tonight, but it has been, was brought to my attention that we don't have many youth that are working on that are members of our commissions. And what I've come to understand with someone that works a lot with youth is that the youth don't necessarily want to be on a commission by themselves as the lonely youth person there, the lonely student there. So if everyone could maybe think about it and we could put it into the discussion box, or if someone wants to say something about it tonight, to begin to think about having two or allowance for the possibility of two youth members on each commission. I saw your hand, Councilmember Morgan.
Yeah, I was just, as I'm hearing you talking, I wasn't trying to answer before you were speaking, but I think just in our boards and our commissions overall, some of them function and they're necessary, but they're just, a lot of them can be more appealing, if you will, that makes people, that entices people to want to give their service, their time, their effort, their ingenuity. So just because we have these things and they're available, they're not appealing enough to, I think, sometimes for young people to want to do a lot of that young spirit and energy work that's necessary. So if we can find creative ways to lure people beyond just having open seats, I'm definitely interested in kicking some ideas back and forth. But I think you're 100% correct, Mayor.
Okay. Councilmember Brown. I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
I guess my question is, I just, maybe for clarity, and I don't know if Clerk Klinger or maybe Mr. Barr can remind me. I know that when we added the youth positions to some of our boards and commissions. I don't know, were they all equal? Like, you know, was it like we would have, they weren't all equal. Okay, I'm seeing Steve, you're saying no. So that's the problem. Okay, because I know that there were some that already have 2 seats for young people, but then there's others that don't. So we're just trying to make sure that all of them have the same amount of representation for young people.
There are 3 U seats on Parks and Rec. There is 2 U seats, both when the Parks and Rec are also, all 3 are vacant. There's 2 seats on the Arts Commission vacant, 2 seats on the HRC vacant. The only commission that was set up with U seats with only 1 is the Police Advisory Commission. So if that was going to be expanded, there would need to be an ordinance amendment.
Okay.
And then these are per state law. You have to be a qualified voter to be a voting member on a board or commission. So these are non-voting members.
Okay, so Clerk Kalinga, it's only the ordinance that sets up the Police Advisory Commission that regulates that one. So that's the only ordinance that we would need to adjust?
Correct. For the boards or commissions that have U seats, that would be the only one that would need to be updated to expand it to 2.
Okay, Councilmember Morgan.
When we say in youth, are we talking about below 18? Is that
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Councilmember Wilcoxon. You're muted.
Yep, I got it. I like Clerk Kalinga's language of those that have youth seats. So how many of them don't have youth seats?
To get to that, I'd have to look to get that a final number, but I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Yeah, I thought there were quite a few that didn't.
So there's
Planning and zoning probably don't.
Planning, HDC, ZBA, ethics, sustainability, and I believe that is it, but I'll have to double check.
A lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, several.
And I'm not entirely sure with the state statute for the planning, HDC, and zoning, if that's even allowable.
Well, if they're not voting members, I mean, all right, but I guess there's privy to information that, anyway.
I don't know. Mr. Barr, could you check on that for us for the next meeting? Whether or not those, Clerk Kalinga, could you get the ones that you said just now that do not have provision for youth to Mr. Barr? And if you two could give us a report on that next time, please. Okay. With some, thank you. Councilmember Morgan.
If we wanted to expand that to like 20 to 19 or 20, will we need a resolution or ordinance to do that?
I checked on that, and the thing with that is that once somebody is 18, they're registered to vote, then they can't serve as a youth member. They have to serve as a full member because they have voting rights.
Okay, thank you for the clarity.
Thank you. Yes, I did ask about that. Are we willing to look at changing that ordinance at the next meeting, bringing it forth and looking at it for the Police Advisory Commission?
Yeah, I would support doing that, but also maybe if we get the feedback from Mr. Barr and Clerk Kalinga, so we could potentially do something like all of them together, the ones that we're able to change. But
I think we would have to change each ordinance separately. Yeah, they're all different. So, okay.
I support bringing forth the Police Advisory one if we can do that at the next meeting.
Okay. Did your hand go up, Councilmember Morgan? No. Okay. Anyone else on that? Okay.
I have a question. Sorry. Could we also bring forward the Sustainability Commission to make an amendment to that one? Because I'm assuming that one is allowable. I can see reasons why the other 3 wouldn't be, but the sustainability makes sense to expand it to youth.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So, okay, Clerk Kalinga, if you could also bring forth the sustainability ordinance next time also. All right. Thank you. Okay. I want to just talk a little bit about my plans for the first 100 days. And I've talked to some of you. I had the opportunity to have conversations with some of you. And I would like to term them, and I did pass this by Mr. Barr. And he said I should present it tonight to council. But I would like to term them 100 Days of Healing and Love. I've had any number of people talk to me, both young and old, about pent up and built up feelings that have been there for a long, long time. And if we don't get underneath and begin to heal from inside, we'll never get healing. If we always just heal the top, that other stuff will always be there. So I'm hoping that I have plans to establish a mayor's race and equity advisory cabinet with about 40 people. And that would, the members of this group would be of a mixture of age from young to old, a mixture of race and ethnic groups. It would be a mixture, it would be a mixture of gender. It would be just a broad mixture of the diversity that we have here in the city of Ypsilanti. And I'm asking council people, if you would recommend some people to me that you think would be effective on this committee, this cabinet. Essentially what this cabinet would do would be to help develop a plan for healing in the city. I don't think any one person can come up with a plan that would work to heal the city. So I'm asking council people, if they would, please offer suggestions for those that would be willing, that I could reach out to see if they would be willing. This would be, I would not run this meeting. We would get somebody professional to run it. I spoke with the Washtenaw County Ethics Director today, and ethics officer, I believe her title is. And she said that she would be willing to work with someone, but when during the course of our conversation, she did say that she thought it would be best to be run by someone who has a real history here in the city of Ypsilanti, preferably someone that was possibly born here or has lived here for a very long time, so that they know some of the history. I shared some things with her that I knew about the city growing up, and that there's some deep roots. And I learned a long time ago, whatever's in the root is going to come out in the fruit. So if we really want some healing to happen, we're going to have someone to guide us through so that we can begin to deal with the roots that are there that are not good. So I am asking for your help and your support with that. One of the other things that, and I'm in the process of planning this, is a town hall, but it would be a youth town hall. I would like to hear from our youth. I want to give them the opportunity to speak to us, to share what their vision, what they want to see the city to become. And I think that as adults, we can learn a lot from youth if we listen. It's not just always being able to share and help them to grow and mature, but I think that they can also help us to grow and mature. And just want to share a little portion of a little statement that I did prepare. And first of all, I want to thank all of you for your congratulations and your well wishes. And I do hope that we can really work together in unity on council. I don't know. I think that I would like to see us come to a place where we can be very open and honest with each other and through that openness and honesty, develop some relationships where we can move forward. And not only we move forward, but as we move forward, we can move the city forward. And I think if we all commit to that, and that's what I'm asking, if all of us would commit to working in unity. And I've talked to some others on council, and I've heard them say the same thing, that they're really looking forward to and hoping that we can really work together in unity. And I have asked the city manager to begin to search out someone that could host, that could be a guide for us through some racial and equity counseling for council, so that we can come together. And I don't know if haven't had a chance to check back with her yet to find out if she's found someone. I know someone has been, Council Wilcoxon had something in mind, but I think that as we work on this and we get healed begin to work on being healed within the council itself, I think that it will be easier for us to work in the community and for the community to receive from us if we're willing to work on our own selves. And I think that I challenged council at the last 2 meetings. I challenged us the first time to look within and to be willing to admit to our own biases and be willing to pull them up and to deal with them. And then the last time meeting was to call out racism when we saw it, and we saw that happen at our last meeting. Lots has gone on in the last 2 weeks since our meeting on June 16th. There's been really kind of a revolution almost here within the city. And I had some other things that I was going to share, but I will just write my statement out and share it with council rather than going through it all right now for the sake of time. So anybody got any questions or comments for me? Councilmember Wilcoxon.
I think this is great. I think this is a conversation that some of us had started before, and just really looking forward to getting down to the work and moving together. I've said it before to other people, and it's like I respect the people that are on the council and look forward to working together. So.
Thank you. Councilmember Morgan.
I thank you so much for thinking forward, thinking ahead, and being on some equity teams talking about courageous conversations. It again, sometimes when you peel a scab back, a lot of pus comes out. But again, those are steps toward healing. So I appreciate being a part of the conversation. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes. You mentioned that. I learned a term years ago in my social work days, and it was called proud flesh. And what proud flesh is, and I think we've all maybe had a sore at some time where it was a little bit deep and but it healed over and it looked like it was healing, but every time you touched it or hit it, you knew that it wasn't. And doctors would have to go in and cut it open, release where it had already begun to heal, because underneath there was a lot of pus. It wasn't healing from inside, and they would have to open it and clean it out so that and then sometimes even pack it with antibiotics or something. I know it sounds gross and it sounds painful, but sometimes that's what they would have to do. And it was a doctor that shared that with me in an analogy in a group that I was working with in social work. And so, and I made some of those same faces, you know, but he said, if you really want it to heal, if you don't do that, then it just continues to fester underneath. So I think we can move on. Did somebody else have their hand up? Councilmember Brown, Mayor Pro Tem Brown.
Councilmember Somerville, did you have your hand up before me?
No, I didn't. I was getting ready to, but I didn't actually move my arm. So you go ahead and then I'll raise.
I saw you sit up, so I was like, okay. No, I was just to say that.
See, that's how we know you're getting ready to speak, because you lean forward.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you want to sit up.
That's why I mistook you for Councilmember Simmons.
Yeah, no, I was just going to also say, I think that it's really important to have these conversations around diversity, equity, inclusion. It takes humility to have those conversations and to know that we don't know it all, and that we need support and that we need help. And in order to be humble, you have to have the courage to admit when you don't know things or when you need support in, moving forward. So I think that it's great that we'll have some outside support, hopefully, to help us walk through these courageous conversations. We use that terminology at my primary place of work too. So it's work that we're doing across the board in a lot of different spaces right now, and it's necessary work. So I look forward to doing that within the city and including our constituents as much as possible as well.
Thank you. I do too. Councilmember Somerville.
Oh yeah, no, I just wanted to congratulate you again at our meeting. Looking forward to working with everybody and healing together, and also with the community. I think it's really important, and looking forward to it.
Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to, and I think that, I think Ypsilanti, the city of Ypsilanti, is primed to move forward and to flourish. One of the things that I have started doing also is speaking and talking to business owners. I was able to sit down with one business owner, and we had a very, very good discussion. Others, I've just been reaching out to them on the phone. The heat being prohibitive for one thing, plus the virus still lingering around. And I just want to encourage everyone to please keep yourself safe, do what you need to do to stay safe. And that includes wearing a mask. Let's wear our mask. I know we all they aren't always the most comfortable thing, but let's do what we need to do. Okay, I'm going to stop there. City Manager McMullen. You're muted. Okay.
Righty, thank you, Mayor Richardson. I just kind of want to recap some of the things that I put in our CIL that you should have received on today, but I think it's worth mentioning for those that are listening and watching us via Zoom. So City Hall reopened on Monday, full-time. We're back to full-time from 8 to 5. As everyone knows, can only come to the first floor and to the third floor. The other floors, you must make an appointment, and it's one at a time. Also, parking enforcement has begun again as well. It started on Monday. And most importantly, I wanted to announce that I've been looking at our goals, and in due to time that we're in right now, and council concluding that racism is a public health crisis, what I've done is went back to our goals, and I saw that we had adopted goals to say that we would focus on include in all of these issues as a part of our goals. And I thought, well, what perfect time to start from within. So you guys will be receiving an email shortly, but it's council as well as staff. And it's going to have us to dig deep within ourselves and answer questions so that we can find out where we are. It's going to be all done online. I will receive a report as well as HR of where we are as an entity. It will tell us some of the things that we probably need to work on. CIL, I included that a description, a short description of where we're going to start We're going to start with workplace diversity, inclusion, and sensitivity. And it's like a 35-minute course that you'll be doing at your leisure on your own time. The study is going to be on unconscious bias, and that's 20 minutes. It's going to be focusing and raising awareness of our own biases. And then it's going to help us. It's going to give us some solutions. And then the third one is going to be microaggressions in the workplace, and that's a 15-minute course. And it's going to kind of explain what that is and how it affects other people, other council people, your employees, your coworkers that you work with. And then it's going to also give some solutions and some guidances on how to be positive and to actually be effective. So those are, I'm looking forward to that. And so I kind of want to give you a heads up that that is coming. That's a platform that is going to be provided again to all of our employees as well as our council members. And that's in keeping with the goals that we adopted. Did you question?
Yeah, were they going to be anonymous? I know they're online, but were the answers just anonymous?
Yes. Okay. Also on July 20th, I know that we just decided that we were going to have a joint meeting with PAC on July 23rd. However, on July 21st, we have a scheduled council meeting. And at that meeting, we were going to be having a presentation from myself and Police Chief DeGiusti. And we're going to be introducing a community policing strategy. And we'd like to have council's input. And also, this is also to address what's going on in the community and also the topic of defunding. This offers not defunding mechanism, but a reallocation of our funds and how we can support community policing in the city of Ypsilanti. So that's coming on July 21st. Also, I'd like you to know that one of our goals was community entertainment. However, due to COVID, we have not been able to do that. Sure if we're going to dial back or not, but as of right now, we have scheduled our first drive-in movie for the South Huron lot. I believe that that's safe because people still will hopefully be in their cars, but I want you to note on your calendar, although we have scheduled this joint meeting, the movie has also been scheduled on that same day, which is the 23rd of July. And it's at 9 p.m., so maybe PAC will be over by that time, and we can come out. And the featured movie for that is going to be The Lion King. I'm excited that at least we get a chance to begin working on our goals. And those are three things that I just introduced on tonight that were identified by council as priorities and some of the ways that we're going to begin to work with those. I believe that this is in with healing as well, the movie, as well as the evaluation, the self-assessment that's going to take place so that we can begin to examine our own values and our own maybe biases that we've had. Because I do believe that in order to be effective in the community, we have effective and we need to be one unit. So this is going to help us, privacy of our homes, to just evaluate our own selves, and we're going to take that information. Hopefully this will stem into something larger, but we will know what areas we are focusing on. We're just not shooting at the stars hoping that we hit something. So I think that's all I have right now. Yep, I think that's all I'll say. But if you got any questions, feel free to email me and to call me. I want to thank all of council phones I received. I really did appreciate it. It was very thoughtful. And so I just want to say, I want to say thank you. And I believe that'll be it for now. Thank you.
You bleeped out several times there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We didn't understand.
If I could address Steve's question. Andrew and I started looking at that code section about the notices. And the only noticing that we do is for our late fines, the 14 and 28. That particular notice is in case we were ever to accept appeals ourselves and we were to start adjudicating. Because when we did the ordinance, we looked at ahead in case we were to bring that in-house and not use the court. So we're going to consider maybe removing that because we're not using it and we're not enforcing it. The only noticing that we do use and enforce is the 14-day to 28-day increment.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay, thank you, City Manager McMullen. Anyone have anything else? No.
I just want to say thank you, City Manager McMullen, for everything.
I just want to say, I know in lieu of the determination by the Election Commission, that I just think in unprecedented times calls for unprecedented circumstances, and these are the times. And so it might not have been to everyone's favor. However, I think it'll work itself out in the future. I'm glad to be here in these times.
Thank you. And we are in unprecedented times. We really are. Yes. Okay. Thank you again, City Manager, for that report. And if that's everything, Clerk, are we calling for the? Yes, Councilmember Morgan.
I said I made a motion to adjourn if that was it. No.
I think that's where we are. Is that right, Clerk?
Wow, we're all smiling.
Yes. Who
awesome.
supported that?
Support.
Somerville.
It's been moved and supported that we adjourn this meeting. This first of a whole new era. So the meeting is now adjourned.
It's 9 o'clock, y'all.
Good night. Yes. It's still light outside too.
It is still light outside. Well, you're in the galaxy, Lois. May the force be with you.
Hey, thank you.
Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody.
That was up there. I did, like I said, I did that Sunday, and I was just trying to get in tonight. So we were all doing